This is the exact app I built this week. No coding background, no Xcode installed, no Android Studio open in the background, just a chat window and one AI model. Watch this. Water goes in, the bar fills up, a reminder fires on my lock screen 30 seconds later. This is running on an iPhone right now and on a Samsung right next to it. Same code, 2 operating systems, 0 native development. Here's why this actually works and why most people trying this fail in the first 10 minutes. Grok isn't writing an app. It's writing a cross-platform code base one file at a time inside a framework that already knows how to talk to both iOS and Android. That framework does the translation work. Grok just needs to be told clearly what to build inside it. Most tutorials skip that part. They show you a finished screen recording and call it a day. Today, I'm showing you the actual prompts, the actual folder structure, and the exact point where this breaks if you're not careful. Before we get into it, tap like on this video, drop a comment with the word build so I know you're following along, and subscribe now before the tutorial starts because I'm going to reference something from this channel later that only makes sense if you're already subscribed. Let's get into it. Open a blank project folder on your computer. We're using Expo, which is a toolkit built on top of React Native. You don't need to know React Native. You need one command, npx create-expo-app, followed by your project name. Run it, wait for the install to finish. That's your skeleton, empty but functional. Now open Grok. This is where people mess up immediately. They type something like, build me a water tracking app, and paste the entire response into their project. That fails almost every time. Grok doesn't know your folder structure. It doesn't know which files already exist. It's guessing. Instead, give it boundaries. Tell Grok exactly what stack you're using. Expo, React Native, JavaScript. No TypeScript for now. Keep it simple. Tell it exactly what the app does in plain language, like you're briefing a new employee on their first day. For our example, track daily water intake, show progress as a filling circle, send a reminder every 2 hours between 8 in the morning and 10 at night. Store everything locally on the device. No login required. Ask Grok for one file at a time. Start with app.js, nothing else. Copy that file into your project, replacing the default one Expo created. Now run npx expo start. A QR code appears in your terminal. Scan it with the Expo Go app on your phone. If nothing crashes, you have a live app on your actual device in under 2 minutes. This is the moment most people give up on other methods and stick with this one. Because you're not staring at a simulator guessing how it feels, you're holding it. Now we add the water tracker logic. Ask Grok for a second file, a component that holds the state for how much water you've had today. Be specific about naming. Tell it the file is called watertracker.js, and it needs to export a function component that Grok has already referenced inside app.js. This naming discipline matters more than people think. If your file names don't match what Grok assumes they're called, you'll get an error that looks broken when really it's just a mismatch. Paste the new file in. Save. The app on your phone reloads instantly through Expo's live refresh. Tap the plus button, watch the circle fill. That's your core feature working end-to-end in about 15 minutes of actual work. Now here's the mistake almost everyone makes once they hit this point. They get excited and they start asking Grok for 5 features at once. Reminders, a calendar view, dark mode, a settings screen, streak tracking, all in one message. Don't do that. Grok will try to satisfy all 5, and in doing so, it often quietly drops imports, forgets to update app.js with the new component, or reuses a variable name from your first file that now conflicts with the second. You won't see an error immediately. You'll see a blank white screen or a spinner that never stops, and no idea which of the 5 features caused it. 1 feature per message. Test after every single one. If something breaks, you'll know exactly which change caused it because it's the only thing you added. This single habit will save you more time than any prompt template. Let's add the reminder system. This is the part that actually separates a toy demo from something worth putting on the App Store. Because reminders touch permissions, and permissions behave differently on iOS and Android. Ask Grok for a notifications module using Expo's built-in notification library. Tell it you need permission requested on first launch, a scheduled notification every 2 hours within your active window, and a cancel function so notifications don't stack up if the user reopens the app. Install the package Grok tells you to install using npx expo install, not npm install. That distinction matters inside Expo projects. The Expo install command checks version compatibility for you automatically. Skipping it is one of the fastest ways to end up with a crash that only happens on physical devices, never in the simulator. Add the file, reload. Grant the permission when your phone asks. Put the app in the background and wait. If the notification lands on schedule, you now have a working, multi-file, cross-platform app built almost entirely through conversation. Here's the part nobody tells you, and it's the actual golden nugget of this whole video. Everything up to this point runs fine inside Expo Go, the testing app. But Expo Go is not what ships to the App Store or Google Play. You need a separate build step called EAS Build, which packages your project into a real installable binary. People finish their app, feel done, and then discover this step exists a week later out of nowhere. Run EAS Build, choose your platform, and let it compile in the cloud. You don't need a Mac for the iOS build. Expo's servers handle the Apple side remotely. Once it finishes, you get a real .ipa file for iOS and a real .apk or .aab file for Android, ready for test flight and the Play console. That one command replaces what used to require 2 separate development machines and 2 separate tool chains. I test new AI deals every week. If a new free method comes out, you'll see it here first. Let's talk about submission, because this is where most first-time builders lose days for no reason. Apple requires a privacy policy link even for an app with no login and no data leaving the device. Write one sentence explaining that data stays local, host it anywhere free, like a GitHub page, and paste that link into App Store Connect. Google requires you to fill out a data safety form, and if you leave it blank, your app gets auto-rejected before a human even looks at it. Answer it honestly. If you're not collecting anything, say so in every relevant field, not just the first one. Icons matter more than people expect. Both platforms reject blurry or stretched icons instantly. Ask Grok to generate an SVG icon description or design a simple 1024 by 1024 square yourself and run it through Expo's icon tool so it auto-generates every required size. Once your build is uploaded and your listing is filled in, submit for review. iOS review typically takes 1 to 3 days. Android review is often faster, sometimes just a few hours. While you wait, go back and test on a real device one more time, not the simulator. Simulators don't test real notification permissions properly. They don't test real camera access properly, and they don't test what happens when your phone is locked and the app is asleep in the background. I've seen apps pass every simulator test and then fail the moment a real user locks their screen. Catch that now, not after launch reviews start coming in. So here's where we landed. A working water intake tracker, built file by file through direct conversation with an AI model, tested live on a physical device within minutes, packaged through a single cloud build command, and submitted to both app stores without ever opening Xcode or Android Studio. The method scales past this single app. Swap the water tracker logic for a workout counter, a budgeting tool, a habit streak app, the pipeline stays identical. One file per message, test after every change, install through Expo, not NPM, build through EAS, not Expo Go. Next week, I'm taking this exact pipeline and pushing it further, building a version with a paid subscription tier and showing you the real revenue numbers once it's live, not projections, actual numbers from the dashboard. If you want to see whether an app built this way can genuinely make money, subscribe now so it shows up the moment it's posted.